what is it that's going to work, and what is it that's going to be fair, and is not going to deprive an individual of their rights. And in terms of the benches, perhaps what we need to do is look at something else that will work for people who need a place to sit down for a period of time for a rest or whatever. But at the same time, we have to balance that with the fact that, are we creating an area that will attract a group of people who suddenly will have a stronghold on that piece of turf, make it their own, and then suddenly we have connecting problems associated with that. And so I think you have to look at it from that standpoint. If it doesn't work, then let's look at something else that does.
Over here, and then to the back, and then up in here.
Yeah, I hope this isn't written off as protest rhetoric. I say more benches everywhere, more benches than people. But anyway, I think I'm very disturbed by your term poor utilization of the police. I think that really downplays what's going on. I think what's going on out there, clearly offensive behavior is not the target, especially when people are being ticketed for not crossing the street at a right angle. I'm sure that everybody in this room, when they're crossing over to their neighbor's house across the street, they don't do that. Massive tickets for that. Massive tickets for trespassing, for things like using the phone, trying to use the phone. A lot of people who are a victim of homelessness, which I think 24/7 outside does exert a little bit of stress on our mental state. A lot of homeless people either leaving town with a stack of tickets or going to jail for 6, 12 months, 2 years. 3 months for stacks of tickets like urinating outside, sleeping outside, all inescapable crimes, if you will. Public drunkenness, slew of tickets, and that's the tactic that's happening from the police, is that they're given a whole slew of tickets until they've got enough tickets and enough failure to appears where they either go to jail for a long time or they just leave town. I think somehow people have this thing that going to jail even for a day is not that big a deal, but it's a big deal. Going to jail is a continual slew of psychological torture, from no blanket, verbal harassment, threats, cold air, bad food, denial of food. All kinds of things happen in jail that make one day a very torturous experience, if you ask me. I'm wondering these places that you have on your resume, Rob, like Boulder, Colorado, Santa Cruz, Seattle. I wonder why the poor people that I talk to that go to those towns use terms like fascist, police state. Do you think that they're just missing the picture, or maybe they just don't have a clear picture on it, or did something go wrong in the plan that you helped them implement to clear their streets?
The answer is that the police departments in those cities, like the police department here, I suspect, I am a visitor, I don't know, make mistakes. I think they're generally fair-minded. I suspect that also they generally appreciate the diversity and tolerance that made those cities what they are today. And they don't want to be a community of Stepford wives. I would resist the notion that they're fascistic. I think that's a misuse of the term. And I think there are examples of a city where all people can feel welcome. And I think today, people do feel welcome in those places far more than they did 30 years ago.
And I think that they should. And I agree with
you. Sir, just stand back, sir. Please continue. You need to remove your hands from his. You need to keep your hands off of violence. You need to keep your hands off of people, man.
We didn't burn it. You don't have to burn it. What are you fucking hurting me? Oh, goddess.
But I will tell you this, do we target people? You're darn right we do. We target people who are engaged in unlawful activity. I don't care what you're wearing, what you look like, what class you belong to, but if you're involved in illegal activity, we will be there and we will deal with it. And it doesn't matter if you are a so-called street person or somebody who lives in the southeast neighborhood. It does not matter. And for those of you who are skeptical, then I invite you to come down and see what is happening. I have always been a proponent of having people with video cameras come down, videotape what we're doing, just as long as you don't interfere with the officer's actions. Bring us the evidence that there's police misconduct, and we can certainly deal with it. We want to hold our officers accountable.
What's your name? 343. Officer Williams. What's your name, sir? What's your name?